What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert, and this is the B1KER Bar Podcast live stream. Live stream podcast, whichever way you want to say it, it doesn't really matter. Anyways, here we are, episode 52. Had to look that up today. Like I can't remember from a week ago. Amazing, right? So, anyways, it's going to be a fun show. But first, let's get the beginning stuff out of the way. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It means a lot to me. It keeps me from taking Prozac and Xanax and anything else that would make you hit the subscribe button. So just hit that button for me. It'd be great. If you have a good chuckle, you like what you see, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the like button. So that works too. This show today is actually going to be, is brought to you from my good friends over there on Patreon. All you guys that are on my Patreon, man, I really, truly appreciate what you guys do for me. If it wasn't for you dudes, it seriously, this wouldn't be happening. There's so many times that I've looked back and I've been thinking to myself, I'm done. But it's because the guys on Patreon, you guys are putting your hard-earned money into this channel. And so I'm like, hey, I owe you something. So I'm going to make sure that here we are doing the Patreon thing. So you can sign up for $1 a month. You can be part of that. It puts beer in my fridge. It puts beer in my belly. Every once in a while, it does cool stuff like this back here. If you guys haven't noticed, the background changed. I just built that yesterday. So we'll blame that on Patreon. Thanks a lot, guys. $5 a month, you can get a sticker pack. And then I will annoy you with emails about, here's my rough cut, stuff like that. There's also coupons on there that you can get. You'll save. If you use one or two of those coupons, you'll save what you're spending on the Patreon for sure. So do me a favor, man. Do that. That would be awesome. Like and subscribe. If you guys are listening to the audio stuff on the podcast, swing by your favorite podcast app and leave a review. I went on to Apple yesterday and read some of the new ones that you guys put up. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Feels good. If you don't have a 5-star review to give, go to another mountain bike podcast and then let them have it. So that would be sweet. So let's go ahead and get on to what we're doing here today. We have biking with Bobo. See if I can remember how to work this thing. Here we go. Boom. There he is. Oh, man. He just started out strong.
What's up, man? What's up, Robert?
How's it going?
How are you doing?
You got the Dales, man.
Oh, yeah. Little Dale's Pale is like one of my faves for sure. Local.
Yeah?
Bruchowski. Well, Colorado and North. I did a terrible job of pouring. I knew I shouldn't have poured. Look at this.
Oh, there you go. That's the kind of head you'd like to see in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I got a little like revved up, like I was on, and then I was pouring a beer, and I was just like, am I multitasking?
See, I'm just gonna go with the plug for Hand Up because I love these little paper bag koozies that they have, and then I don't have to pour it in. But here I got this Track 7. It's a local IPA. It's actually a blood transfusion, which I feel like is fitting because I drank enough beer last night to need a blood transfusion today.
I'm glad you pre-gamed for the podcast.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know about you, man, but every time I do like a project, like if you build something, for some reason you have to like sit and stare at it and then drink a bunch of beer like it's gonna change or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, it's like you got to crescent and the project and be proud of it and celebrate it. Celebratory beers.
Yeah, there's nothing like sitting in your garage by yourself at midnight, getting drunk, looking at yourself in the camera and going, oh yeah, the lighting's good. This is good. Yeah, I like this.
Well, cheers, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, cheers, man. Thanks for coming on, dude. I was thinking about it before we got on, and I was like, man, I've never talked to Bobo. And then all of a sudden I remembered that we did that Super Bowl party. It was like East Coast, West Coast, New England or something like that. You remember that? It was a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it was so funny because like Josh from MTB, Daily MTB Rider was
Bike Rider,
yeah. He was the host of the show, and we were doing like trivia during the I think it was like halftime show.
I forgot
that we put on
that because I was like blind drunk.
I'm pretty sure I was too. I don't think that there was like 15 seconds without one of us dropping an F-bomb.
Yeah, for sure. It was an instant demonetization. There was monetization possible. I don't recall.
Somebody says they can't find the super chat option. Maybe that's something I need to enable. I don't know how that goes, man. So Well, NorCal, you can always get onto the Patreon and do that. No, sorry, I got sidetracked. All that ADD in me.
That's cool. Actually, Alan and Susan Garcia says, "What's up from North Georgia? Not too far from Wa in Western North Carolina. Pretty good.
Right on, dude.
In North Georgia."
So that actually brings me to something I wanted to ask you about. How did you end up moving up there? Because like you were down in Florida and Seth moved, and then all of a sudden you moved. I was like, so what's going on here?
Well, actually, I moved up before Seth.
Oh, okay. You're the trendsetter.
I was the trendsetter. Actually, I think I don't know if this actually had anything to do with anything. It definitely did not. But I definitely commented. I feel like such a fan. I commented on a Seth video.
Yeah.
I moved up here and I was like, "Hey, did you know that you didn't have to live in Florida?" And then after that, so I'll take credit for Seth moving to Asheville.
There you go.
That's a really good question, and it is the answer that you want it to be. I came here, and I refuse to leave.
Yeah.
It's like if you've never been to Western North Carolina, it's got some like world-class downhill and just the most beautiful place on earth. If you do anything extreme sports-wise, we have some of the best stuff you can find of that here. But just the culture, all the breweries, the party atmosphere, all the live music. It wasn't hard to sell the wife on Asheville either, but it really started when I came here on like my first ever downhill trip, and I went and I rode the trail Ridgeline in DuPont. And now, granted, I'm from Florida at this point. We don't get more than 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds of descending in Florida.
Yeah.
We'd be like up and down the whole time, and that trail took forever. Like I just had never experienced that much descending in one go.
Yeah.
And by the time we got to the bottom, like I was just like, well, I'm not going back to Florida.
Right.
Yeah, that ridge line was kind of the tipping point for me. And I gave up a pretty comfortable career in Florida. My job was like long-term, super cushy. And I gave it up for a real risky, it was risky coming here and giving that up, but it paid off big time.
So you from Florida all your life, or?
No, I'm actually from upstate South Carolina. So that was another thing, is that we're just
getting closer to family.
Yeah, so coming back, being closer to family.
That's pretty cool. How about the wife? She's from that down there, or?
Yeah, she's a beach bunny. She's a Florida girl. She's my my beach bunny. She's from a place called Vero Beach, Florida. And yeah, it's so funny. When I first moved her up here, I was like, we were so stoked. And we moved up and it was winter, and it was like 3 weeks of snow. And I'm just looking at her, and she's like, I would kill you in your sleep. Yeah. But no, we love it here. She loves it here. And we're going to probably move back to Florida in our mid to late 80s and die like a normal person.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we'll probably go back.
I mean, what else are you going to do? It's either Florida or like somewhere in Nevada, so you can like sit and play the penny slots for like the last 10 years of your life.
I'm holding out for the first retirement community in outer space. I think that would be pretty killer.
There you go.
Of course, with I'll probably just have an acid flashback and think that that's what's happening. But either way. So are you from Northern California, right?
No, not at all, man. I'm from Pennsylvania, dude.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Okay. That's where I grew. I actually went to high school in Florida for a minute, though, down in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I've been around a little bit, but I came to California because I wanted to be a rock star, and then that didn't happen. So
that's the dream, though, isn't it? I mean,
right? I went to school for studio recording and did all that stuff. And
are you a musician?
Yeah. I play guitar and pretend. I always say I play enough guitar to get laid. So like,
that's really
it's not much. No, it's not.
Example: Elvis Presley,
right?
Cobain. They got more beaver than the Hoover Dam. 3 chords.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, nothing wrong with those guys.
Dude, you only need to know 3 chords. You just play them in different strum patterns, and you're good to go, man.
I noticed this dude from my high school is in the chat. What's up, Braxton Butler? That's trippy. That's crazy. Just wanted to say hello.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Well, that's cool. Musician. I had no idea. I mean, you and I, we could have been making records.
Dude, we totally could have, man. I think there might have been a drunken biker live stream where I challenged you to a songwriting competition.
I bet I met that challenge.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that I freaking woke up the next day when I was sober and realized that I can't play guitar worth a shit. So, but that night, dude, I was on, man. I was like ready to go, and I had the one song that I've been playing for like 30 years. It was all keyed up. So, how'd you get into playing guitar?
Well, I was born and raised in a musical family. My father was a musician. He was a rock and roller. From Gainesville, Florida, and he always told me all these stories of these legendary guys that he played with and was in the music scene with in Gainesville. And I just, from an early age, knew I was going to play. And, I looked up to him for sure.
Yeah.
And we had I grew up with a music studio in my basement, so I always had drums, keys, a full PA system already ready to just go down there, pop out of bed, hungover, flip the lights on, got the drums right there. And what's funny is that how I started playing actually really could have affected my mountain biking in a big way. When I was 13, I won this scholarship, this art prize for a painting or something, and I won all this money. And my dad was like, "Hey, this is a lot of money. What are you going to buy?" And I was like, "I don't know. I either want to get a guitar or a dirt bike." All my friends had dirt bikes, but my dad played music, so I didn't know what to do. And he was like, "All right, what have you decided?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna get a dirt bike." And he said, "No, you're not. You're getting a fucking guitar because we had too many dudes in our family die on motorcycles." And he forced my hand, and I bought a really awesome guitar. And
what was it?
It was my first guitar. This is probably gonna piss people off. Was a Eric Clapton Fender Stratocaster.
Oh, right on, dude.
So it was
my first guitar was a Jap Strat.
Yeah,
well, dude.
That's what you should get. But I think my dad was like, "Get the guitar, he'll quit." And I get the guitar.
Right.
I thought he was plotting on me.
Yeah. I
also bought that guitar from the lead guitarist of Marshall Tucker Band.
Oh, there you go.
They're from my hometown. And
that's cool. Yeah, my dad was a musician too, and like I grew up listening to like going to sleep listening to band practice and all that stuff. So I think I got to a certain age where I wanted to learn how to play guitar, and I knew that guy was pretty good at it. So I was like, I didn't really have a lot of relationship with my dad, so I was like, here's a good way we could get to know each other, and like I can learn how to get laid. So
is what it comes down to.
Yeah. So he bought me this piece of shit guitar on purpose, though. It was like so hard to play, and it was like the action was horrible, but I kind of learned the basics on that. And then when I got that Strat, like the first guitar that I bought, it was like all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, my fingers, like they work so well, you know?
Like you've been cheated all this time. You're like, so that's how these assholes are
right?
I get a really nice guitar. It's
like, I just woke up and I was Eddie Van Halen. That's funny.
I think the same logic applies to bikes.
Yeah, right. You know, it's probably true. You know, if you're riding something that is not so good, you don't know any better, so you kind of like overcome those things, you know.
For sure.
That's why I always tell people you never know that your brakes are shitty until you get good ones.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So what got you into the YouTube game, dude?
Well, I had to find a way to move to Asheville. I knew that I hated Orlando. I mean, I had great friends and a good job, but sweltering heat, nonstop, relentless, like feeling like you're in a microwave at all times, started to drive me batshit crazy. I had to get out. And convinced the wife that Asheville was the thing to do. So she started helping. And believe it or not, she found me a job that allowed us to move and live very comfortably, I might add, in Asheville for 2 years on Craigslist.
Oh,
Of all
wow.
places, nothing good comes from Craigslist after midnight.
Right.
But she found this job listing for it was a YouTuber in Asheville hiring, or YouTube couple in Asheville hiring for an editor. So they said it was the ad was like, submit a 30-minute ad telling us why you should get the job and your information.
Mm-hmm.
So my boss at the time, I was working at a
Tell me your ad was like had the Borat costume in it, right?
Right. That's exactly why I got hired. I should have wore that. Actually, I like could be on underneath here. We won't know until a couple of years deep in the podcast. So my boss was not in his office, so I went into his office, set up the camera, and he has all these awards and really nice cameras in the background. I'm like doing the interview like I'm on his desk because I'm thinking I'm not going to get this job, and I don't know how to edit. I edit my own videos when like we go out and ride or go on vacation. I just stitch it together to like a Beach Boys song or Weezer.
Right.
And sure as shit, they called me back, and I didn't think it was for real until I came up here and tried working for them for a week as an editor. They liked what I did and signed me to a 2-year contract. And I went back, put in my notice, and sold our house. We were house owners before we left, and got the fuck out of Dodge. And it was scary.
I'm sure, man. Like it's, when you're younger and you move to a different city, it's like not that big of a deal. You go to school, you got to make a bunch of new friends in the first week, and you're back to like smoking pot and drinking beers under the railroad tracks in a new city, right?
That's what I'm doing tomorrow. That's right. Saturday plans.
But as an adult,
like it's bad.
Yeah, right. But as an adult, it's definitely like it's a lot different. Like it takes a while to meet people and to like kind of get into a community and get a good circle of friends. And I don't know.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we're very fortunate that we found our people here, because you're right. You have to do a lot of trial and error, and some people you're like stoked on. You're like, oh, I like John. Yeah. And then it just doesn't work out. Like, we went through a lot of trial and error, and then we found Tan Daddy and his wife Jamie, and we since met Landy and Steady Spin and all. We had this great circle of friends. My buddy Brock, and it's just been like the last piece of the puzzle, because you feel like you belong to a place, but you belong to a place when you have that core group. A real special core group. So
for sure,
it's been
man.
rad. It's been rad.
That's good stuff.
And that's partly one thing that I've tried to focus on in the content beyond the mountain biking. Obviously, we're going on an adventure. We're going to go out and ride, but I'm trying to like showcase the camaraderie, showcase the friendships and the good times as well. You got to have a good balance of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's important, and I think it's intriguing to people as well, because then it's not just one person that you're getting to know. It's 5 or 6 or whatever.
It's like a cast of characters, like like Leatherfoot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Do you have a Moonlight? Who's your Moonlight?
Steady.
Steady's your Moonlight.
Oh yeah.
He's the wild card.
Always the wild card. Oh God.
I'm sure if he was watching, he'd be like, man, he didn't even hesitate.
He wouldn't even say that. He'd be like,
right.
Just look at somebody.
Stand up.
Like, Steady, why are you always throwing a look like you just did a drive-by? Like, what's with the
right. Good stuff. I heard he's good at talking people into stuff.
Occasionally.
Yeah. He's an instigator.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But you need one. You need
one
in every group. It's fun. It's all in good fun.
Right. It usually is. So what were you doing in Florida before you packed up and split? You said you had another job, you quit.
Well, I was working in the television and film industry for a while before I made the move into YouTube. And I wasn't an editor. I was notoriously poor at anything that had anything to do with computers. I was a camera guy. And I worked in all kinds of different departments in the film industry. I worked in art department, sound, directing, screenwriting, first AD. Anyways, I ended up.
So you had a lot of film experience before you got into this, though.
I went to film school. I have a bachelor's degree in film, and then I ended up going back and becoming a lab instructor at that film school and working my way up to a lecturer at that film school.
Oh, wow. What school was that?
Full Sail University. It's in Orlando, Florida. And
right on.
My class was called 16 millimeter film production. So
I
had to get a new group every 2 months, develop a script, produce the script, shoot the script. So in my time, in my 6 years at Full Sail, I produced around 52 short films.
Wow.
Now they were all student short films. So one of them, two of them maybe were good.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting learning experience for me as well. Teaching and learning are two different things. And like when I emerged from that 5-year experience back into the practical world of application, I felt far more prepared than I was before I taught film. So I worked film, taught film, and now back into YouTube.
How do you teach film and never edit though?
Well, I actually taught when I first got hired at Full Sail. It was because they were in desperate need of a lab instructor who could load film. So that's how long ago this was, because we were actually still teaching the loading of actual and shooting of film because the digital age had not completely taken over. Right.
Yeah, I went to school for studio recording, and we had to that was part of how do you get the tape in there, you know, and that's crazy.
So I knew how to load these magazines. I knew how to load the film, and I was friends with the guys who were in charge of that department, and so they hired me for temporarily, and they found out that was just too much fun to fire because I definitely wasn't qualified. So they decided to train me, and I got trained up, and one thing just led to another. I had started to bloom as a screenwriter and a director on campus. And I don't know if you remember the Crash the Super Bowl commercial competitions, the Doritos commercial thing.
That sounds familiar.
Where you can win $1 million and then get to direct the next Avengers or whatever. I came in 5th.
Holy shit, dude.
From a project that we shot down while I was down there. And so I started to realize I need to do my own thing. I'm stuck in this hypothetical world of trying to teach people ideas. And I have so many of my own, they're bursting. I mean, I must have came up with 20 ideas a day. I think you're probably one of those types of people as well. Always thinking, can't help but you're mowing the lawn, boom, episode idea. It didn't take long after coming up here working for these other YouTubers who were my age and about to retire financially. I was like, I need to do that.
Right.
I'm just applying everything to this now and learning as I go.
So, I mean, you took a totally different approach to the mountain bike YouTube space. I mean, when you came in, the skits, so to speak, that's not really something that other people were doing. Everybody was just, POV, and Seth was busy doing Seth, and nobody else can replicate that. And
he's got the niche, man. He really has got it locked down.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think that it makes sense now to hear kind of your background and understand why your videos came the way that they did.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I mean, one thing that I learned is that if you show up with no plan, you're gonna walk away with not much.
Yeah. So, that's probably my problem.
Well, if it's a vlog, that's different because you just need to shoot, film, and make the camera feel like it's another character or another buddy of yours.
Yeah,
you're hanging out with. But with the sketch stuff, that was something I was always practicing, and definitely the film background is why that's kind of been my go-to. You got to separate yourself.
Yeah,
people, like you were saying.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I tried to do that just with F-bombs. It hasn't worked out very well. Everybody else is
I mean, I think we're cut from the same moral fabric.
I think so, man. There's a good chance we might have been switched at the hospital.
We're probably related. I mean, have we not talked about this yet?
Right? I wouldn't doubt it, man. My dad used to tour. He was like one of those guys, maybe your dad and him, they met up in some freaking God knows where. And I don't know how that comes into strippers and blow, but it probably happened. And then
most stories, let's be fair, end up with strippers and blow.
Do you ever see those outtakes of bad news reporting stories gone the wrong way when they're doing live?
Oh yeah.
And there's this one that's the reason I said that a minute ago. This lady's there's like a $500 million lottery. And she's like talking to this guy filling out his ticket. And she's like, what would you do with the money if you won? And he looks at her, like, doesn't miss a beat. And it's just like, oh, strippers and blow. It's just like, oh man.
Did you ever think that women may not be just into you for the money? Well, chicks that double up on a dude like me are.
Oh Lord, that's hilarious. So you move up there to Asheville and you get started. I think that your videos did take a change once you moved up there. Like you definitely kind of like dug in more, I think, on the story and like.
I was thinking about this earlier. Yeah.
Would it be safe to say that like Bobo's a character as much as he is you?
Yes. Well, absolutely. Like I think that was the first lesson that I learned about YouTube is that you gotta be yourself first and foremost, but then you gotta be yourself turned up to 11, sometimes and oftentimes 12.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a bit of a character of myself, but not really.
Yeah.
It's pretty much me. It's just a little bit turned up.
Yeah, I'm sure. But what I guess what I was getting at is like, I mean, you can tell that it's genuine because it's your personality. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you're scripting it, so it's not like you're like, maybe you really are eating mushrooms in the middle of the woods at night, you know?
And there it is. And there it is. See, like that's the point. And see, now they don't know. They never know I'm actually tripping or not.
Right. But what I was saying though is like, I think I don't know if it was like deciding to quit or working for that other YouTuber and like making the decision that you were going to be like super serious, but I think that your content definitely like it changed when you moved to Asheville.
For sure. I tell you when it really changed was when I met Seth and BKXC Brian. I knew the sampler before both of us got into YouTube. We actually met at a mountain bike getaway in North Georgia, Mulberry Gap.
Yeah. I've actually heard this before.
I think I've said it
he,
a bunch.
He was he was the tour guide, I think.
Yep. And I don't believe either one of us were into YouTube much at that point. But when he came back through Asheville, he was communicating with me because I had been making some weirder videos since I've been in Asheville. But the real like match that lit a fire under my ass was when I went over to Seth's house. And I'm like, it's kind of surreal. I probably had 5,000 subscribers at that time. And maybe 3, maybe 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they were commenting on one, like probably the video where I tripped shrooms in the woods. They're commenting on it. That was great. And Seth's like, so what's up, dude? You gonna do this for real or what? You know, it's just like that. And Brian was like, yeah, man, you know, you gotta do it every week, and you gotta do it like you're doing. It's unique, it's original. And I went back home and just started like,
I
was like, oh my God, I can't let these guys down. I promised them that I was gonna do that. So that definitely lit a fire under my ass. So moving to Asheville, the fear of like not being able to stay in Asheville because the Threadbagger thing, the other channel might go away. And these other guys motivating me definitely, but nothing motivates like necessity.
Like having to pay your bills.
I was like, I really want to stay in Asheville. I don't want to beg for my job back and go back to the hell that is Orlando. So I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make this work.
What's your creative process like? How do you go about coming up with what's going to happen next week?
Head injuries. I just blame head injuries, like definitely from all the concussions, because it just sort of comes to me in a flash. Oftentimes inspired when I'm distracted, doing something tedious like vacuuming the house or cleaning my bike, or half paying attention to a TV show. What I'm getting at, to answer your question, is I'm not very organized. So I know what tomorrow's episode is going to be. It's going to be MTB News, which people seem to be digging.
Yeah, that one's super fun.
But the next week, I have not a clue. So hopefully I can get this thing edited tomorrow and then get out Sunday and just start filming and figuring it out. It's probably going to be a vlog. So there's a lot of filming and figuring out, and there's a lot of big projects that I have. I have major, like massive scripts that are just too big to do. And I'm just trying to figure out a time to do them. So there's that too. I have a bunch of projects that are just like seemingly too big
Uh-huh.
to do. So I'm just trying to figure out when I can do it. What about your process? Are you like regimented? Like you
Oh
already know the
man.
next guy that's going to be on this channel, and you're doing 2 channels. Like,
Yeah. Well, as far as this one goes, this one's pretty cut and dry, man. It's not too difficult, and it's just lining people up. I'm a natural talker, so like I don't have to like come up with questions or stress about whether or not I'm gonna be able to carry the conversation. Just get on and just wing it. And then
that's
as
one
far
thing
as
I liked about your channel is that you do have the gift to gab,
yeah,
and you always have something interesting to say, and you're always in such a great mood.
thank you,
So
man.
let me just say that like you have you have my attention. I'm a patron, by the way.
Oh,
Patron here
sweet, dude.
in the house for a while now.
Man, did I know that? Fucking A, dude.
Because
Damn it.
so I support the channel, and for good reason, because you're great on camera. I want to tune in and see what's going on.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. I mean, we were talking beforehand, and I would assume that it's the same no matter what level of success you're at. It's like peaks and valleys with how you feel about YouTube, and it's like,
Oh, absolutely.
some weeks you release a video and you get all these comments and you're like, freaking the serotonin or whatever the hell it is pumping through your veins, and you're like, this is awesome. And then other weeks you're like, wah wah wah.
Swing and a miss. Yeah, and we were talking about this beforehand. Like it's that this is why people get jobs in the hospital, because if you're an artist in any line of work that is considered art, create music, you create films, you write a television show, you act, performance, etc. You're putting yourself out there each and every time, and the job is never ending. Like there's never a moment where you should just be like, wow, I've reached the top, that's it.
Yeah.
Even the greatest filmmakers are still making films. They didn't just give up.
Right.
So the thing, that's what's the irony of art, is that it's one of the most fulfilling jobs you'll have, but it's also one of the most rip your heart out type of jobs.
Right. Try being Van Gogh. That dude sold one painting.
Right.
And he cut his ear off for his girlfriend. I'm not there yet. But man, the right amount of whiskey and the big enough super chat, dude, I bet you I'm in.
I'm willing to bet that with what you just described, that's the recipe for a viral video until YouTube takes it down.
I'm sure I'd screw the thumbnail up, man. I wouldn't get any views.
So isn't that the irony? Don't you hate it when you put all this work into an episode and you're like, man, this is some really good stuff. I'm really proud of this work. People are going to love it. And, you might actually get a ton of positive comments, but not a lot of views. And still, it just stabs you right in the heart. And then you have to wonder, well, was it not as good as I thought it was? Or did I just fuck up the thumbnail?
Yeah.
And then you drastically try to change the thumbnail, which never works.
Yeah,
not
right.
for me, anyways. I guess some people it must have, because otherwise, why would we do it?
Right.
You have to wonder. Like, you can't get them to watch if you don't get them to show up.
Right.
And the thumbnail and the title have to lead them all in. So.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna make a whole series of videos. It's like, if you don't click this, you're gonna die. Now pass it on to 5 people and you'll make $1 million.
I was like trying to find just assets for Mario Kart for an episode. I didn't need Mario Kart in the background. I just went to, tons of YouTubers playing Mario Kart, and this guy just like a million times was like, seriously guys, stick around to the end. Seriously guys, stick around to the end, like a million times. Like it was either that or subscribe. And I'm just like, man, I'm not saying that enough.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's one of those things, you always forget. I mean, at least for me, it's like my I don't do many scripted videos, like most of mine are kind of like you were asking me about my
one. This recent one was a scripted one.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was. And it was man, I tell you what, I have like a whole different level of respect for you after doing like a scripted video, because it's just, oh my God,
it's not easy.
No, it's like so much filming that I did compared to like go ride my bike, figure out the story, maybe take some B-roll and I'm done. Like it was definitely like probably 2 solid days of filming just to get what I got. Like I did one day at first, then you get back and you're looking at your footage and you're like, oh, great, that camera wasn't in focus. And then you're like, oh, the audio is all fucked up over there. That's great. You know, like
that hurts so bad.
Yeah.
That hurts so hard. So what was it like directing talent, telling people what to say, where to stand, and how to do it?
You know, it's this. I think it's the second one that I've done. Generally speaking, yeah, because I did the Moonlight Leatherfoot video too. That was
epic.
Yeah, that was scripted. It was real life scripted, but it was pretty easy just to follow what we did before. But this one, you know, a lot of it was me. My daughter helped a lot. She was the pizza delivery girl, and we had fun. So I think.
Well, that's a big part of it. If you can just keep everyone engaged in doing it, like, okay,
Yeah.
this is fun to do, and we're having fun while we make it, then you're winning the battle. Because a lot of mountain bikers don't traditionally like to be on camera in general.
Yeah.
It definitely seize up with the scripted stuff. You wouldn't believe how many lines No Breaks Nate trips over. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I definitely understand what you're saying there. Moonlight was that way when we filmed that video. I was like, all right, say this, dude. Like, it's exactly what you said. And somehow he could say it in a manner where it sounded like it wasn't even him. I'm like, dude, this is you. You said that. How can you not say this now?
Right. Okay, now without a Swedish accent.
Right.
Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
Where did that come from? Oh God.
Eddie used to just like launch into a Canadian accent. I'm just like, no. That's another thing, man. I've been stuck on film sets and I've worked 24-hour days. I've worked 24 hours once on the film set. It was an independent piece of shit movie. That's illegal to do, but I did it. So I know what it's like. The shots add up, and I know you have to, man, when you're doing it for the first time, you start to find out, good Lord, 24 shots. That takes a long time. And you got to stay on it for sure. I'm always interested to hear people, because anyone can be a filmmaker. You just have to try, and you just have to learn and fail and keep trying.
I think my biggest problem is that I don't really write a script. So like everything that I do, I usually am just coming up with it as I'm doing it.
Well, that is let me just tell you right now, that is a very common ailment in the process.
Yeah.
When I was teaching film students in college, that was almost always the problem, is that they wanted this awesome thing, but they didn't know exactly how to get the proper work done before filming so that they could walk away with what they wanted.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah, it takes time.
I'm starting to learn it. Yeah, I think one of the things that helped was, you know, when I first started my channel, I didn't want, I really wanted the channel to be focused on like the character, whether it's me or it's my friend. And like, as I was watching other people's mountain bike videos at that time, I found myself like, I just wanted to know more about the person. So like when I started my channel, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be riding bikes, but I'm going to try to like just talk the whole time, whether I'm talking about what's going on here or whatever, you know. So that was kind of my focus. And I always wanted to be like capturing that and not make it sound like it was thought out ahead of time, you know. And since I'm good off the cuff, it worked out that way. And I never did, right. And I never did any voiceovers. So like everything that was in my video was always something that I said while I was out, right? And once I started doing voiceovers, and you know as well as I do, you can't wing those, man, because you get halfway through a sentence and you'll like stumble some word for some reason. Like you have to type it out. You know what I mean?
It's better that way. I mean, oftentimes I will just wing it on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, what might I say? I'm like, okay, cell phone out, blah, 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 garbage it out. And then it's always funny how 5 minutes later it occurs to you how to edit what you said. And then I write it down.
Yeah.
And I don't even watch the clip again, but I have tons of clips on my phone of me just like talking while I'm driving. Like, this would be a great idea. We should Terminator episode with e-bikes.
That's gold.
That's one of those big ones that I got planned.
Yeah.
Just haven't made time for it yet.
So what do you have an aspiration of doing like something like really big? like a 30 minutes or an hour or like.
I want to do a full-length feature.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did. I wrote feature films. Or a feature film. I wrote a zombie comedy based in the Old West. And
you had me at zombie.
Basically, Shaun of the Dead in the Old West.
Right on.
And my buddy, partner who helped me write it, is actually in LA still trying to get it sold and getting it in the hands of interesting people. But yeah, I keep thinking to myself in terms of a business, like, if I can get this thing big enough to attract the right attention and someone were to offer me an opportunity, that opportunity would definitely be a mountain bike feature film and not a documentary, or as Nate would say, a documentary. Not a documentary either. I want to do a comedic film starring Zach Galifianakis and Danny McBride, two best friends who think that they're the best riders ever until they go to Whistler and see what real riders are. It's a buddy movie, road trip of a lifetime kind of thing. I think that in terms of the biggest project, that it wouldn't necessarily be reserved for YouTube. But yeah, I would like to write, produce, and direct a full-length feature film.
That would be fun.
Yeah, what about you? Do you have anything like that for like on the YouTube side, or?
Man, I would like to do. I think I would like to put together like a full-on documentary.
Like, would it be like installments, like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4?
No, I mean, I'd like to actually go through the process of like, hey, here's a hour and a half freaking documentary about whatever, right?
You could get away with an hour 15 these days.
Yeah, I'm down.
No,
but I think it would be fun. I just don't know. Like, I feel like, honestly, I need to go and start taking some classes to learn more than what I can by trial and error, as well as watching YouTube videos,
Well, a tutelage will never go against you. I mean, it's always best to have as much information going into what you're doing as possible. I wouldn't be able to play the guitar like I can now if it wasn't for taking actual lessons from this guy who was really amazing at teaching.
Right.
And you don't really have to look too far. I've actually been proactively continuing my education because you learn something different from every filmmaker.
Yeah.
There's no like archetype filmmaker
or
the person sitting at the top. There's only different things. And there's this one guy on YouTube named Peter Mckinnon.
Yeah, I know who he is. I watch him all the time.
He's one of the guys, Jack Septicai. Paul the Punter turned me on to a lot of these people. But I found a lot of really, really talented filmmakers who like to share their secrets on YouTube. And man, I stalk those channels down, and I even take stand-up comedy classes now and then online.
Really?
Watch a YouTube video on stand-up comedy. And
right on.
Things will click, and you're like, oh, that's why I'm funny. Oh, get it now.
Right.
I used to tell my students, I was like, people say that comedy is the hardest genre to write. I say those people just ain't funny. And that's another part of it too. Like, you also have to have sort of an ability with it. And you have a really good ability to tell a story. There's nothing wrong with going out and finding a couple new creative ways, like sound design. I recently took a Peter McKinnon's tutorial on sound design, and it really changed how I edit my B-roll.
So what do you like? You signed up for some like extra classes that he does?
No, I just go to his channel and
you're just watching all the stuff on his channel.
Okay, tutorials. Like, he's like, this is how I did the sound design for this film. Or
yeah, no, he's Paul, so good, dude. That guy's like so inspiring too.
He said it would be awesome if I was a little louder, so I'll just sit up. There we go. Bam. I like that for louder, Paul. Paul's my pineapple brother. We got
there you go.
So funny that Paul and I share the same tattoo. But yeah, no, Paul actually turned me on to Peter McKinnon and a bunch of other YouTube filmmakers. And I have learned this injury that I went through provided me with a lot of downtime. And in that downtime, I learned so much.
Yeah.
From all these different guys. So yeah, I encourage you to look into some people. find someone that you like. And
yeah. No, I definitely watch a lot of Peter McKinnon stuff. He's really good because I started checking him out when I bought a legit camera because he's like, always talking about all these different camera tricks and things of that nature. So he got my attention there. You know what I was thinking about doing was oh crap. Now I'm going to the masterclass. Have you seen that?
Oh, I love masterclass. Are you kidding me?
Oh man, they had a deal where it's like buy one membership, get two. And I was like showing the lady, my lady is like a really freaking phenomenal cook. So like for her, I was like, hey, check this out. You could like take these classes from, so-and-so or what's his name? Gordon Ramsay. And, and for me, I was like, dude, this would be intriguing just to hear like, Martin Scorsese talk about how to make a film,
I take notes on those commercials.
Yeah. Right.
Pre-ad commercial for masterclass roles. I was like, Steve Martin. Like I'm taking notes. Because masterclass. I think I'm gonna join you on that. I'm gonna get a subscription to that shit. It's probably really expensive. I have no idea.
No, it wasn't that much. It was like $180 for a year. Like really, like yeah. And dude, some things I'm so frugal on. It's like, dude, honestly, like I'll go drop, $500 or $1,000 on a new fork, and then I'm like $180 for this class. It's gonna teach me how to like do YouTube that I love so much better. Like I don't know, man.
They got some priceless information in there. And
right?
Yes, Paul, I like ice in my water. I'm an American.
Oh man, he must be European, right?
Well, they don't like a lot of ice.
No, they don't.
I was raised in the dirty South, and we drank sweet tea. So you have to get water in there somehow. So you have to overload it with ice.
When I used to live in Germany, and they don't do ice much either. Like those little tiny cubes that are like a centimeter by a centimeter. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? Like that, like come from an ice vending machine. You go to the German like restaurant and you're like, oh, can I get some ice in there? And they're like, oh yeah. And they come back and there's like 3 of those floating in the top, like already half melted from the trip from the kitchen back. And you're like, what is wrong with you? No, like fill the glass up with ice, then put whatever liquid inside of it. That's what I want. And they just look at you like you are freaking insane. What is wrong with you?
So I guess that living in Germany must have had its perks, like Oktoberfest.
Yeah, no, that was a good dude. This is the thing.
At a young age.
Yeah, that's probably the main reason that I went there. I was like graduating from high school. I'm like, man, I could go to college.
See, I think I would recruit you for a drinking team if you had to do a beer fest situation.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good.
I'm sorry, I interrupt you.
No, it's good.
Think about going to college or?
Yeah, no, I was like, go to college or join the military and go drink in Germany for a few years. I'm like, I'm in. So
Army, huh?
Yeah, that was the trick, man.
Cool, man. That's cool. What did you do? What did you do in the Army?
So I went into the recruiter and I was like, I want to be a psychologist. And he's like, oh, cool. Take this test. So I take this test and they're like, you scored really high. We would like you to be in military intelligence and do this job called a linguist. Meanwhile, the recruiter was an infantry guy telling me all these fucking cool ass stories about his time in blowing shit up and shooting all these guns.
Right.
And I'm there and they're telling me this like awesome job that could, lead to a great career. And I'm like, no, I want to be in the infantry.
Yeah. I mean, I want to jump out of a plane with a machine gun like Van Damme would.
The guy looked at me. I kid you not. He looked at me and he's like, no, I don't think you understand. This is a really good job. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think you understand. I'm not signing that paper unless I'm going to the infantry and you're guaranteeing me that I'm going to Europe. And they're like, well, we're not going to do that. And I'm like, okay, cool. I left. And then like a day later or 2 days later, they call me up. Guess what, man? We found that job.
Right, of course. Yeah.
Lo and behold, next thing you know, I'm in Bosnia getting struck by lightning. Right. So
wow.
Yeah. Good times, man.
I bet there were some wild times had in the military.
Oh yeah. Sure. No, it's definitely it was really fun. I always say it was the best and the worst time of my life. You're like best friends you'll ever have, worst management ever. I mean, imagine if your boss could make you do push-ups. And like if you don't listen to him, you can get grounded to your room for a month and he can take your paycheck away. You know, like,
yikes.
Yeah, it's just not fun, man.
He could order the whole platoon, everyone in your office, to beat you with socks and towels.
So when I
was explaining this to my wife the other day, I was like, yeah, no rights. Your rights are gone.
Yeah.
Here are your rights. They're gone.
Yeah.
You got to do what they say if you go into the military.
Yeah, it was interesting. When I got out, my squad leader, gave this little speech or whatever, and he said, "Yeah, when Schumacher got here, he was acting like he's some kind of civilian." I was like, "I'm gonna make a soldier out of this kid." And today, Schumacher's going back to the States, still a civilian. So,
nice, lovely.
Apparently, I didn't learn much, but it was a good time, man. It was a really good time. So I don't know how we got off onto that kick, man. Something really cool and intriguing to talk about. I don't remember what it was now.
Cooler than military service? I don't know. I think there was probably some pretty cool stuff going on in Germany.
Yeah. We were talking about the drinking in the fest. That's what it was. Yeah. So this is the deal, man. Everybody always is like, dude, Oktoberfest. If you live in Germany, every city has some sort of fest. Like, it's basically
like Oktoberfest isn't even a real thing. It's just like
it is. I mean,
it is. But it's like,
but it's like there is like Wine Fest, and there's like Grape Tuesday Fest, and there's like there's like a fest season, and it's you can go from city to city to city.
Oktoberfest, otherwise known as Thursday.
Right? Yeah.
Germans are definitely professional drinkers. Yeah.
Their beer over there is something else.
Mm-hmm.
But
I would love to go spend some time in Germany.
Yeah, it's a good time, man. I don't know if you like history, dude, but there's there's a boatload of that. You know, so
big history buff.
Super fun to see all that stuff. You know, that was the one cool thing about being over there. I mean, we used to do this thing where the train station is called the Bahnhof. We'd go down to the Bahnhof if we had like a 4-day weekend, and it would just no clue where we were going. Just get there, and whatever's leaving next, that's what we're buying the ticket for, and
nice.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was a good time to get travel around. And I went to Paris, slept in a car for like a weekend. That was great. Because we were always really good at like making plans of going places, but not making plans of where we're actually going to sleep.
Right.
And when you're like 21, you're like, oh man, we'll just go meet some girls, some locals. We'll stay at their house.
It'll work out. We'll get it. They'll cook breakfast.
Yeah. So
we don't need money or anything.
Slept on a park bench in Berlin for the same reason. I mean, just
sounds like you've lived, Robert.
Yeah, no, it's good times, man. I'll tell you what, Amsterdam though, that place is a mess. You get up there, you're like, oh, I'm gonna make some plans, and then a bunch of time goes by, and you're like, I'm just getting back on the train.
Am I still in this same shroom bar?
Yeah, I'm leaving right now. Just get back on the train, and hopefully reality comes back by the time we get to Germany.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, so, Amsterdam is definitely on my short list. That's definitely another thing about this whole YouTube thing. I didn't expect it to work, because I think guys around our age are a little more pessimistic than guys 10, 15 years younger than us right now.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I guess cynical is more the word. And, you're just like doing this thing, and then all of a sudden it starts to work, and it gets bigger and bigger, and it opens up all kinds of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And, one dream, going back to your question earlier in terms of just like for YouTube, is that for me personally, it'll unlock that traveling opportunity that I missed out on by not joining the Army.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you'd like to travel around and film for the channel?
Well, yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of allure in the sophistication of experiencing other cultures and getting drunk in other cultures, and getting just shit-faced, cross-eyed, fucked up in other cultures. And I want to know what that's like. I want to know what it's like to fall on my face in Brazil and Australia. I want to know what the ground feels like in Amsterdam. I had not fell in enough countries. I had a pretty good tumble in Canada with Paul.
Yeah.
But I
Paul told me the other day that he quit drinking for like 3 months after hanging out with you.
Yeah. Yeah. We were walking through the village of Whistler the next day, and he was so angry. He was like, wasted a whole day running because my head is just swelling. And we like stop, and I look, and I see this chick that we saw the night before at the club, and she's like looking at her full face helmet. She looks, she sees us. She's like, she sees Paul. You were so drunk last night. And then we walk away.
That's classic.
Moment. Great moment. Yeah, we got twisted because we started the day with the margaritas, and then it just like a couple
went downhill quick,
real quick. But it was an epic night in Whistler for sure.
I was watching some of your older stuff the other day just to like kind of remember, some of the stuff that you've put out, and the one with the hangover I was watching, and I was like, man, I know that feeling. Like, what a great idea for a video.
I had to do something for content, and that's literally what happened. I went out there and just barfed.
Yeah.
I was so hungover, and like it was 100 degrees, and the full face helmet and the braking bumps. I was like, that second shuttle up, I just hopped off. I was like, someone get my bike. And worked. I was like, yep, this is going to be an episode.
Yeah. I've had, I got like a top 3 list of like biggest hangovers in my mountain biking life. And never is it a fun day being on the bike when you're just like hurting so bad.
No, I just won't do it.
Yeah. I apparently like have this like stupid gene. So it's just like, I was
familiar with that.
I have a video that was called Friel's I can't even talk. Friel's Flatliner. And basically, like, I went up to Tahoe. I got freaking hammered with like this 23-year-old, what do they call that? Red Bull Rampage rider, like just this like young kid that can just get up and bounce back better than like a 40-year-old fat dude. And so it's like we party all night long, and then we go up there and we do this climb that takes you up to like 10,000 feet. And I'm just like 4 hours of sleep in a tent, drunk sleep that doesn't really do well. And I remember climbing up the hill, and of course I'm used to being in the back of the pack, but I was in the like, even the bears are like, I'm not gonna eat that dude. Something
something is wrong. He's a funny color.
Yeah, I was standing there on the side of the trail. I'm not even lying. I remember thinking to myself, if I just throw myself down this hill right now, like I could sleep for a couple hours until they find me. Like, it was like the worst day of my life, man.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
But of course, it wasn't the last one. So it just
nope, and it won't be. It won't be the last one either.
Yeah,
it's the weekend. It's right now. The weekend. You could top yourself tonight.
Yeah, I know, right? I got a big ride tomorrow. I definitely. Oh man, I don't want to fall into that one again.
Ooh, good luck to you, sir.
Right, I'm screwed.
I gotta wake up and edit all fucking day. I've been editing and filming all fucking day. I've been editing and filming since 8 o'clock this morning, and I stopped at about 6:30, just enough time to get dinner. Whoa, that is a low airplane.
They're not supposed to be in your bedroom, dude.
Nope. My new drone's here. I'm hoping I can make light work of the episode tomorrow so I can get out for a ride. And Kevin Maldado says, "Are you guys brothers?" See, someone finally said it.
Yeah, right. You know, Richard from Stickered. Have you ever seen him in my videos?
Yes, I think
everybody thinks that he is like, are related, or they think that he's me. Like I actually had him do the "What's up, YouTube" at the beginning of the video. People didn't even realize that it wasn't me. Paul, even when we were in Sedona, Paul came up to him and is like, "What's up, YouTube?" And Richard just looked at him and he's like, "I'm not Robert."
That's hilarious. I wish I knew that. Paul was like, had it locked and loaded, and he fires it at the wrong guy.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Man. Good stuff.
Oh, God damn it.
So what's the video that you made that you loved the most?
Wow. That is a very difficult question to answer. I don't know that I've made it yet.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one is going to be, it's probably, God, that's an impossible question. That's hard to answer.
I usually go for like, whenever I get drunk, I watch my own videos. So I'm like, this is the one I'm going for. So that's usually...
well, this is a weird. So this might be not my go-to for when I'm in that mood and I want to watch one of my episodes that I love. I know it's going to make me have all the feels and feel good. Is Nate's bachelor party when we went to Colorado. To this day, and it doesn't have like the most views, but that doesn't really matter to us, does it? Like we have this special place in our heart for those memories.
Totally.
When we went to Keystone for Nate's bachelor party, that video, I love it. We swam in a glacier lake. We partied our asses off. We rode this awesome park in Keystone, and it was also just commemorating an epic moment in my best friend's life. And one thing that we always talk about and laugh about is like, man, just think. We documented every weekend of our lives for the last 2-3 years. Like we can always look back at this and like remember all these memories very specifically. Yeah. And for me personally, that one is one of my all-time faves.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's one of the things that I always say. Like, even if like YouTube amounts to nothing, like at the very core, like I've documented the shit out of my life. Like I could be dead and my grandchildren, my great grandchildren, like somebody could be like, dude, your great grandpa was fucking hilarious. Hey,
they're watching this right now, 5,000 years in the future. Your ancestors. What's up, motherfuckers? How's Mars? It's kind of crazy to think about it, but you've kind of immortalized yourself in a way with a huge bulk of content that for probably no reason will ever be removed from the internet. In fact, I plan on getting an interactive touch screen on my tombstone where you can watch any episode or just have it playing on
loop. There you go.
On loop. Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, think of all the hours of episodes we've created. So
and your watch time, you'll still be getting paid.
Paid from the grave. I love it. I want that Google AdSense.
Right.
Give me that Google AdSense.
So that was the best one. What was the worst?
What's the worst episode I ever made? Probably The Hangover. Probably the editing tutorial. Yeah. Because I had this original idea. I did a video called How to Edit Like a Pro. Mm-hmm. And I had this original idea of doing this whole sketch video. Like it was going to start with me walking down the street with Kevin, steady spin, and going, all right, first off, to be an editor, you have to be very particular. You got to learn to hate everything. Like, check this out. Fuck this guy's shirt. That girl's ugly. This painting sucks. And, and everyone's just getting offended as I'm walking down the street. And I don't know, something in me changed. And I was like, I started watching a lot of Peter McKinnon. Yeah. I was like, maybe I should do a legit tutorial and see if I can't bring in an outside audience. Outside of the mountain bike world and educate people on what I do a little bit. Right. I had all this ambition for it. I really thought I did a genuine job and it didn't do terrible. I just, my biggest regret was not going with my first instinct. I think that they often say that, go with your first instinct. And, that enchilada, it's coming up. Yeah. But that was probably my biggest regret, was not following that instinct and making it into a much better episode.
Oddly enough, you didn't make that video, so I'm pretty sure you still can.
What's that?
I said, oddly enough, you didn't make that video, so I'm pretty sure you still can.
I probably can, but I fear I've ruined, or at least tarnished the concept on my channel. Like people, you get one shot at that, but maybe later on, people give people time to forget, and then maybe we'll try again.
Is there one that you like try to do over and over again and it just never works out? I've filmed a night riding video like probably 6 or 7 times. And
Well,
every time I go to edit it, I'm like, nope, this sucks.
well, that's just the thing. There are certain unwritten and quite mysterious rules about YouTubing. And one of those rules is you don't do night videos.
Yeah.
They always fail. I saw Mahalo, my dude, did a night video, and they did it beautifully. It was so well done, and it had like 35,000 views.
Right, and those guys usually get that in like the first hour, right?
Yeah,
You know?
well, I mean, they do what you expect better than that for sure.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, whenever I talk to any other YouTuber, they're always like, "Oh yeah, night videos always fail." I wish I tried to make a good one. My first ever night ride video where I pretend to have gotten lost, or I did get lost and had to build a shelter and survive off shrooms for the night.
That was a good one.
It was a good one, but for whatever reason, people do not want to watch night videos.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, right?
I don't know.
Maybe who knows? I'm sure Seth, I think Seth did do a night video. I'm sure his did well. That guy.
I remember talking to him about night videos. I was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's the death of a video.
Right.
That shit ain't gonna work." He's right.
Yeah, because he did that thing. Well, I mean, I don't think the whole video was a night video, because it might have been the same video where he was like testing the lights and dropping the Chinese ones in a bucket of water, and I don't remember.
Well, he does have a ravenous audience. So if you're right, if there is someone who could pull it off, it would be Seth, because they let me. Have you seen his other channel, Burn Peak?
Yeah,
holy
shit. I've said this in the past that I'd watch that guy like install a toilet. Like basically, it's just a great story.
Fellow tree.
Yeah. Apparently, I saw that and watched him make a fucking omelet for his dog. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm actually not getting up. I'm gonna watch
thumbnail
this.
is so goddamn good. How can I not? How does he make it? How is his thumbnail for a omelet for his dog better than like every thumbnail I've done? It's amazing. What's the secret? What are you doing? What are you doing over there? I need to know.
So, tell me about how it felt when you messed up your shoulder. Like, what was going through your mind after the pain kind of went away?
Well, the first thing that came out of my mouth is almost like the impact, like forced this out of my mouth, was "It's fucked." Like as soon as I hit the ground, I said, "It's fucked." Like I knew it was fucked. I just didn't know what extent it was fucked. And a lot of people ask, like, "Oh man, I bet you regret not having that on camera." If people knew the dialogue that I exchanged, Steady Spin and Paul the Punter, they would also be glad that the cameras were not rolling, because it was very unbecoming. It was not a side of me I would care to share. I probably wouldn't have wanted to edit that, and I wouldn't have shared it with people, because I said some pretty dark things in that moment. Like, I don't want to ride my bike anymore. Like, I said that probably 8 times on the way back to the truck. And,
oh, wow.
Because I knew that I guess I'd put so much pressure on myself to be a provider for my family and keep us here and safe and sound in Asheville with no problems. And I've been doing such a great job, and everything was trending so far up. And I knew I was more focused on the setback in my career at that moment than anything else. And I don't know. I just like was heartbreaking to think that just in an instance of one mistake that I had jeopardized being able to be a provider anymore, and now I was a burden. A lot of dark things went through my mind, but after surgery and that, just knowing that the arm was kind of back together, the mind started churning along, getting better. And if I wasn't surrounded by so many awesome people, I would have been fucked.
Yeah,
for sure.
I had an injury similar, and I know exactly what you're saying. As soon as I hit the ground, like I knew instantly this is bad. Like that sound doesn't happen on a normal fall, and I think that the thing that was so bittersweet was the first time getting back on the bike. So it was like 6 months of not being on a bike at all, and like getting back on the bike, that's like my, that's my Prozac, you know what I mean? Like that's my therapy, and I remember just being so happy that I was on the bike, on the trail, and at the same time, so upset that like all of my skill was gone. And like, I had no stamina because like this shoulder just couldn't hang, you know, it just like, it took a while for it to like get back to like, hey, I can actually like, you know, bomb down this hill and do this ride, you know.
You have to remind yourself, this is a real shoulder again. It works fine. I've been running and trying to do like really hitting the physical therapy hard before my first ride back with Nate. And I actually cleaned the entire climb all the way up to the top of Ridgeline for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I normally would stop always. So I was like, well, I guess I did something right, but I wasn't sure how I was going to go with the descending. Yeah. And once I started following Nate, it's like once you start following your buddy, and you see all that, that looks like fun. Yeah. And then you just do it and you're like, yes, I can still do this. And you start to believe it, because I can watch the video back of my first ride, and the first descent, I'm kind of like, okay, kind of getting to the air. Second descent, I'm just like, almost back to full tilt, you know? Yeah. So I'm in that weird area of risk management, trying to figure out when I can go back to the park or when I can go to this trail that I want to go to, but it's got a lot of tabletops, or the Riveter. You know, there's a fucking brand new indoor like dream mountain bike facility open in my town called the Riveter. Oh wow. And it is just dreamy, but the jumps are gigantic. And I'm just like, I really want to go to there, but it might be too soon. So I'm trying to figure all that out right now. Yeah. And keep the viewers engaged in this story, because I think that might be one thing that is super important in the YouTube game. A lot of people don't talk about is having a story that people follow from week to week. Yeah. So that is definitely one of the blessings of coming back, emerging. Yeah. And thank you, Dan Ziggity, saying that he thought my non-riding videos were great, because I went down some weird paths there too, and tried a lot, learned a lot, experimental stuff. But I'm really glad to be back on the bike, not just for riding, but be able to like get back to the content that I want to make.
I feel like every time somebody has an injury, like you see them go through this thing of where they feel like their channel is going to like lose its momentum and whatever. And then they actually don't do that bad, as long as they just make some videos and like their audience is there and backing them up. And I feel like it's one of those things where you can like give the advice of like, dude, all you need to do is like do this other kind of content. You'll be fine. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And you can give that advice, but you can't like take it whenever it's you. You know what I mean?
Amongst most people, though.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, it's true. It is true. And it was a major concern. It still is. It's like missing the consistency. Yeah. I'm like trying to like convince myself that, you know, as long as I actually have a daily mantra about this very thing, because we talked a lot about the struggle, the mental game of YouTube tonight. Because we can relate. You're not a YouTuber unless you want to quit 3-4 times a week, day, hour. We talk about that. But I have this daily mantra I say every day, most times. Stay patient. Trust the process. Don't give up. Stay patient. Trust the process. Don't give up. So I just like looking at it like on a long enough timeline that I will get back to that every week content schedule. It's tough. It's tough to maintain. But you just gotta not let it bother you when you miss a day or a week here and there. You are a person.
So check this out. Alex has a question that he reminded me. I didn't know that I actually wanted to ask you this. Where'd Bobo come from?
Okay. So my actual name is Lambert. My real name is Lambert Mixson, and I've always been called a lot of nicknames. You that spun a ton of nicknames. Lambert, like Lambo, Lambardus, Lamb Chop, Lamborghini, Lambo Field. But most popular,
you just loved that name as a kid. You were like, thanks a lot.
Man, it was so popular in elementary school when they showed them my class Lambert the Sheepish Lion.
Oh, there you go. That'll freaking knock it out of the park.
I mean, I was already getting my ass kicked for being the smallest kid in the class. So like,
Yeah.
let's like double that up right away.
Yeah.
It was great.
Kids are good at like just bagging on everybody, man.
Yeah. And in South Carolina, they're good at punching you in the face. It's weird.
Oddly enough, I like that now.
Yeah. Fuck you guys. You just taught me how to be mean. So Lambert became Lambeau, like Rambo or Lambeau Field. And eventually my good buddy Jason Small, who I was a groomsman for his wedding and I went to college with, started calling me Bobo out of nowhere. And I had started the YouTube thing, and finally we came back to from Asheville to visit them. And he was like, dude, why haven't you called your channel Biking with Bobo? And I was like, well, because you're the only one who calls me Bobo. But then it clicked, and I was just like, okay, let's do that. That makes sense. And
so the channel was just like Lambert Mixson before.
It was just Lambert Mixson, yeah. And then I changed it to Biking with Bobo, and now I'm Bobo. I've spent my whole life trying to get out of being named Lambert, and I finally have fucking everything.
Yeah,
everything. I make videos for a living. I ride my bike to make money, and my name is now Bobo.
Yeah, you had the opportunity to rebrand yourself as like something really fucking cool, and instead you came up with Bobo.
I gave it a shot. You only get one shot. It's just easy to say. Like the alliteration is 2 syllables. Like kids can say it. Like I'm everyone's favorite uncle because the kid can remember my fucking name. They can remember Bobo. They're like Bobo. It's like a cartoon character. They're like, oh, yeah,
Oddly enough, Bobo is like a cartoon character. That's good stuff, man. So, what was it whenever you started the channel that like made you want to do the skit stuff? Because I think if I remember correctly, I do remember the Lambert Mixson days. You were kind of doing a little bit of the like regular POV kind of stuff in Florida, and so somewhere you switched gears. What was the reason?
Well, I got I don't know. A bug up my ass about the Boy Scout nature of the mountain bike presence on YouTube and how clean cut everybody was, because my experience was vastly different. Yeah. When I went out, we got drunk and we said things that would make sailors blush, and it was nothing but perverted dudes talking shit out their ass and being loud and assholes to each other. And I never saw that on YouTube. And I was like, this is bullshit. Like, where's all that good shit? And I was like, I'm going to go start documenting that and showing that side of mountain biking, because that's my favorite part. And no one's doing that.
I think you and I both started our channels under that same premise.
Yeah.
And people always make the correlation between your channel and mine. Usually it's like one of them's really good, one of them not so much.
Come on.
One of them's good looking, one of them not so much.
Come on. One of them gray, one of them not so much. You got a little bit more in there than me.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm all right with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think you and I have both the beard overnight gene too, because I've noticed you dropped the beard, and like a couple days later it's back. And
yeah, I'm about to go shave this after this because I got to wake up in the morning and finish filming tomorrow's MTV News. So it's airing tomorrow, and I haven't even finished filming it. I gotta do some guest appearances.
Isn't it funny that's how it goes? You got like that was part of the reason with the last video that I did. I was like, oh man, I gotta get this filmed, or I gotta be able to trim my beard again to make it look like it did whenever. Oh, I gotta do my laundry. That's right. I gotta wear that shirt that I had on that day, and just makes everything take forever. I could imagine if I was actually doing a feature film, it would be like 60 years in the making.
It's an act of attrition. I think the feature film that I wrote was like 135 pages because it roughly translates to like a minute per page. And we did like 25 drafts. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's and it still didn't get bought. It almost got bought, but it's a lot of work.
So the one that you were talking about that's being shopped around out in LA.
Kill 'em twice.
let's just say that like tomorrow you get the phone call and they're like, dude, I got us funded. Like we can make it.
Yeah.
What happens to the channel?
Channel would have to probably go on pause, or I would probably initially I would try to document my experience of that and just roll out vlogs, maybe even hire an editor that I trust here to do it. But I don't know. I really haven't thought about that. I've always thought that my YouTube channel was going to lead me to other things. But then once the YouTube channel started getting really successful, I started realizing I was a fool for not being grateful for this amazing opportunity here. I'm my boss. I get to call the shots. I get to write the content. I get to choose my projects. And it's a pretty good deal.
I know. That's pretty, it's pretty awesome. I mean, at the end of the day, like everything that you explained right there, that's a good gig, man. I know when I was younger, I used to like in my career, I would always be chasing like a bigger paycheck and more responsibility and things of that nature. And at a certain point in my life, I just realized like, dude, I just want to be happy. Like none of that shit actually matters. So like,
the reason is because oftentimes you're setting these goals, but you're inadvertently saying to yourself right now that you're not good enough now unless you have these things. So I'm going to work hard to get these things. And then you miss out on today. So like you have to remind yourself also, it's good to be ambitious and it's good to have goals, but it's also very healthy to remind yourself that you're good enough right now and that everything is pretty fucking sweet. Right.
Yeah. For me, it was getting divorced.
That was the turning point.
Yeah, man. Because honestly, like I thought like I had everything wrapped up, man. Like I was like, dude, I'm like, got this good job, got this house, then you buy us a new car. We got, 2 kids and a dog, and like everything's freaking like perfect, dude. Like I'm totally in control. And then one day I wasn't anymore. And it was like, wait a minute, dude, what am I doing? Like it really made me like kind of just reevaluate like making my job only is to pay the bills, or it has to be something that I just love doing. Like it's like a hobby. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Well, I think you should stick with it. You have a gift for it.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. It's tough down here on the bottom.
Hey man, started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Yeah. No, but it's been a good ride, man. I can't complain. I was talking to my daughter about my channel on one of those days where I was being kind of negative, and she's like, but Dad, you have like, I don't know what the number was at the time. Let's just say it was 5,000. You have 5,000 subscribers. That's a lot of people. Like
imagine doing stand-up comedy in a room filled with 5,000 people.
Yeah, right.
That's a lot. That would be nerve-wracking. Or playing a gig in front of 5,000 people. Yeah.
You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to do like improv. I went to an improv night here at this little local place not too long ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this so bad.
Yeah.
Because it's like listening to, I don't remember if it was on the show or before the show when we were talking, and I was saying about like you watch somebody else do something, you're like, oh, I can do it better. It's like watching these guys do this improv. I'm like, why didn't he say that? Oh my God, it would have been so funny. Like just watching the whole thing, I'm like, I got to do this. I came home like half cocked because, we had a bunch of beer, like sitting down. Like, I'm going to sign up. The lady's like, get out of town. Dude. What are you doing?
No. What do you mean no?
She's just, she's on to me already. She's like, oh yeah, go ahead. Have fun. You'll forget about this later.
Well, dude, it's been fun bringing me on, man. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while and see what was going on over there on your side of the country with the YouTubing, and I was very curious about your second channel. Definitely seeing a lot of people do that lately. It's been interesting. Process.
Honestly, the main reason that I did this was because when I was doing it on my other channel, there was no way to know what content people were subscribing for.
Right.
So like if you have a POV video and you have a completely different format, some people don't want to see the POV stuff. They want to see 2 hours of you chatting with somebody and like listen to that in the car while they're commuting. They definitely don't want the other end of it, you know, and vice versa. So I really kind of found myself at a spot where it was like, I need to separate this. And initially, whenever I first did B1KER Bar, I was like, I wanted to be able to be monetized, you know, and I was like, oh man, it'd take me forever to get 1,000 subscribers again. So, you know, and I just didn't I didn't think that it was going to work out that well, you know, and so far it seems like it's doing good. I mean, the format's a lot different than it was before. So I'm, you know, putting the clips out during the week and got this pseudo professional looking thing going on here.
I dig it, man.
Yeah.
Keep cranking them out, man.
Yeah. So what's in store now that you're all like back together, and like, is there any kind of like long-term plans that you're thinking of?
Well, I would love to transition into a traveling vlog. I feel like I need some more substance in the channel. I need more purpose, and a more of an ongoing setting for the story. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've spent a lot of time in Asheville. I've explored almost everything there is to explore here. It's probably time to get on the road. I think the only thing hindering that is the finance part is not exactly solid at the moment, but we're working on that, and we're trying to figure out how to make that work. So we can like go out, van life it up, and be on the road for weeks at a time. My wife works remotely, so we're slowly gravitating towards that. But at the same time, we also have ideas going in the complete opposite direction that are even bigger than that, like homesteading. We're not talking about selling our house. We love our house. My wife's watching. Probably she's like, selling the house. But we're talking about possibly looking into splitting a chunk of land here because we love Asheville. Asheville's so amazing. If I lived here the rest of my life and died here, that would be fantastic. I love this place. I never want to leave. So we're also talking about buying a chunk of land together with our friends and starting basically a commune of party hippies and mountain biking called Team Town. And we just build our houses, build a community there, raise our kids together if we go down that road, and just build mountain bike stuff there that we want to build and party like we want to party. And
so like the Bobo cult is basically what you're talking about.
We're starting a cult. Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's only a matter of time till there's like group sex going on, right? Like that's already happening. You just got to know that as you're moving in, you're like, okay, there's only a matter of time till we're like,
they can't make it illegal now because we own this place.
Right? You're like, seriously, man. Like,
no, I mean, we love it here. So we're kind of torn. But either way, the plan is to continue to make better videos, continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to push the boundaries of what's possible for monetization, and continue to upgrade our lives, upgrade our gear, and broadcast it to the world. And you know, as long as I keep saying the mantra and stay patient, trust the process, and don't give up.
Yeah,
I'm thrilled to see where this could be in a few years.
How do you come up with your characters for your bikes?
Prometheus was already named Prometheus. Whenever I buy something, I name it.
That's your thing.
That's my thing. My Gibson SG. That there is named Satan.
Oh, there you go.
That Taylor.
That's actually the guitar I was gonna buy instead of that Jap Strat.
That Taylor right there. That I named it Taylor Spliff.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, I name all my things. So I named it Prometheus, and it was right at the time that movie came out. Prometheus was like a installment of Aliens. Big Aliens fan.
Yeah.
Franchise, and I was just right down the trail making the noise from the trail, like wee, 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 and I was like, it just makes sense that he would have a German accent because he's Cannondale. He's from Germany. Apparently, they're not made in Germany.
No, made in the U.S. for a long time.
Yeah. So stupidity. So it's interesting, but it all works out. You know, like it all worked out. And Bob, I just always have been able to do a decent Tommy Chong impersonation. And I thought to myself, well, if Prometheus, you think about characters, you think, oh, okay, well, Prometheus is high strung. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
He's always loud and aggressive.
Right.
So the next bike has to be the opposite of all
Right.
that. It has to be passive and, a hippie. And it's like, well, Tommy Chong, that's going to be his personality. Very Eeyore and withdrawn.
Right, right.
And of course, then I got the transition. I was like, well, it's a female because we got to work in a female character.
Right.
It should be a love interest. It's like, except she's a lesbian who punches harder than they do, and she just kicks their ass. I was like, so what you want to do is you want to like lead the audience down a path, and they because people like to try to solve the puzzle, and they're like, oh, it's going to go this way, and then you go, nope. So you bring them far enough, and then you take them in a little misdirection. So I usually try to think of characters, how I would do them initially, and then say, okay, how would I surprise myself with this character? Mm-hmm. And that's usually where I go for the traits. But
right on, man.
Yeah, I've been writing for a long time. Usually, when you do write a script, the first thing you come up with, other than the scene and the setting, are the characters. Characters are everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, how do you get your buddies in on all of this stuff? You know, they're just alcohol. Is that what it is?
Yeah. I mean, I really wish that I could pay them because it is so much work.
Right.
But one thing that's fun is like filmmaking is like probably the only art form on the planet that requires more than one person to make. Mm-hmm. It's a team effort. Always, you got to have someone doing all these things. And I was always surprised to see the gratification and the like the camaraderie amongst my peers after we filmed something. They're like, we did it. We made this together. Mm-hmm. And then they are so excited to see how I assemble it. And mm-hmm. then we'll normally view it together and they'll be like, yes, that was fucking awesome. And I'm just like, guys, I couldn't do it without you guys.
Yeah.
So luckily my background was to teach students. Mm-hmm. So I have a knack for, I had to teach every part of film. Mm-hmm. So I kind of know how to do it. And I know how to give people the information to do their job. But honestly, if you don't have good people willing to do it that aren't excited about doing it, it's not going to work. So I'm super lucky mm-hmm. To have the friends that I have because they are super excited to help me make these projects.
Yeah, no, it's super cool, man. It's definitely super cool. I'm like, man, I need to freaking put out an ad on the paper for like, would you be friends with Bobo? If you would, call me and you can be my friend instead.
I see you in the comments, Bendura. What's up, buddy?
So, fuck, I just had a great question. Don't know what that was going to be about. What is, what was the hardest thing about doing YouTube that you didn't expect?
The never ending part of the process, it seems perpetual. Mm-hmm. Like I just bought all this recording equipment. I spent $800 on recording equipment just the other mm-hmm. day. That's a lot. Yeah. Because I just decided I'm going to start making music again. I miss that. I used to mm-hmm. be a professional musician. I miss that. Mm-hmm. And I hardly have time to play with it or record because I'm, like I said, once this is over, I got to shave my beard and set up the lights for tomorrow morning's continue perpetual filming. Mm-hmm. So I think I think that's probably why a lot of people don't make it. And now I understand whenever I've ever seen an interview of someone like Garth Brooks. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big country music fan, but I love me some Garth. And
there's a new documentary out with him. It's super good, dude.
I got to watch that.
Yeah, super good.
So he basically said like, oh, dude, I was so close to actually giving up before I made it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very common tale amongst a lot of people. So I don't know. I think that I knew it deep down inside that it was going to be hard, but I didn't know exactly the visceral experience of it, mm-hmm. actually living it. It's a lot, mm-hmm. but it's worth it.
What would be your advice to somebody that wanted to start a channel?
Get clear on your intentions, mm-hmm. temper your expectations, and be prepared to fail until you don't.
Yeah. Those are pretty good words, man. It's almost like there's a real guy in there. He's a real man. There's a real man.
I'm a real boy. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on tonight, dude.
Are you trying to end my episode? Is that what's
I probably got to go. I got to get shaven and I got to get pre-light. That's the game, isn't it?
You didn't know this is like you're doing this for free. You're like following my rules, man.
No, man.
I'll tell you what. This is the last thing I usually ask people. So you got to wrap it up. I can respect that, dude.
Sure, I appreciate it.
What other channels do you watch? I'd like to hear that, even if they're not mountain bike related, because I've gotten some good content to watch out of that question.
David Dobrik.
Yeah, my daughter has me watching that one too.
I love David Dobrik. Paul the Punter turned me on to that. I watch Paul's channel a lot because him and I are very similar in a lot of ways in our approach, and we've gotten to work together. So I learned a lot from Paul. I think that he learned some things from me, and it's fun we exchange ideas all the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm always watching to see if he's implementing these ideas that he's telling me to do, etc. But there's Peter Mckinnon, and there's who have I been? Jacksepticeye, and there's a good one. What is his name? iDubbbz.
What's he do?
iDubbbz is impossible to explain.
You just gotta look.
But you just need to go watch iDubbbz.
All right, I'll have to check it out.
He is like beyond brilliant, and he loves to roast other YouTubers. It is fantastic.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I'll definitely have to check it.
Like PewDiePie follows iDubbbz. Like,
okay. Nice. Yeah. There you go. Well, hey man, I really do appreciate you coming on the show. Everybody that tuned in here live, dude, thanks a lot. Those of you guys that are listening or watching after the fact, dude, like honestly, thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed the conversation, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, whether you liked it or not, just hit it. It doesn't matter. It makes me feel good.
Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? Just do it.
Right. Yeah. And I want to once again thank everybody out there on Patreon. Seriously, like you guys really make this happen. So with all that being said, oh man, you know what? I'm over here just like forgetting that I actually have things to do. I'm just running my mouth. So here we go. Not that button. That's not the one. This one. There you go. Hey. Everybody remember, it only takes a bike to be a biker. Get out and be one. Thanks again, Bobo.
Hey, thanks for having me, Robert.